Good afternoon, guys. Thanks for coming. Recap game the other day. Obviously, very proud of our team to get a win in that rivalry game, and took a resilient effort in the second half to do so. A lot of good individual performances, I thought. MVPs in the game were Jacquez Stewart on offense. Obviously, that final play was a massive one, but he's continued along with Penny to really stabilize that running back room and play really, really good here down the stretch, and real threat in the return game. We're going to need him here moving forward to be very, very, very good. Luke Pollock as a kicking and a specialist in the kicking game. Huge field goal there. Did a really good job handling all his responsibilities and has throughout the course of the entire season. Done a fantastic job. And then I thought many players on defense could have got it, and a lot of guys on defensive front play really, really good, but Darius Alexander was our MVP on defense. Very good game for him. 3 really good games in a row. Very disruptive. You saw Deshaun Holt, Terrence Taylor, Judge Culpepper, DeAndre Reagan, Kevon Butler. I thought those guys really controlled the pace and the temperature of the game throughout the course of the second half there, and we got some key defensive stops when we needed, and those cover guys were able to hold in there a little bit longer and let those guys get to the quarterback, and they really affected the quarterback. So, those three guys highlighted there as the MVPs, and as we turn the page here and move forward off of a weird week here, 10-day break leading up to play the day after Thanksgiving, and just trying to get our guys back on the practice field to get the right frame of mind here to get back into position to understand that this is a massive football game for us. This team's an undefeated team at home, team that's playing for a chance to go to a bowl game, their senior day, lots of things on the table for them, obviously the day after Thanksgiving, and we'll have a lot of eyes on ourselves here, and we've drawn some attention by, getting into the top 25, and so a lot of things, a lot of positive momentum, but, we got to refocus on what the main task and the main goal at hand is here, and that's to win this weekend. So that being said, I'll take your questions.
Yeah, the last thing you said there, very emotional win last week. MAC championship game looms in the next week. You're playing the day after Thanksgiving, probably going to be cold, not a ton of people at the game. How do you get your team to refocus?
Well, don't wish the cold upon us. It's good for let's hope for a sunny day. I think that we're not too far out of the same thought conversation or thought process here that we had from the day one of preseason practice. Keep the main thing. Have enough humility to continue to tell yourself the truth through the successes and the failures, and just try to do the best job you can to understand that we have a responsibility to continue to get better. A couple weeks ago, I sat up here and just said, I'm in the thought process that the football team can continue to improve at this point in time. I thought we had a really good spirited practice this morning, and we're going to have to continue to see that continued growth to do the things that we've set out to do. So we've talked often about these things, and I think we're in a good frame of mind, and we just got to understand that we got to go play, and we got to play well, and nothing's going to be given to us and handed to us.
You're coming off a couple seasons where there's been some defensive breakdowns in the fourth quarter that have cost you some games. This year, the fourth quarter defense is actually very, very impressive. They've really hunkered down at critical moments. The answer is well obvious. How big has that been? But why do you think the mindset, the production has changed?
I think we have a complete football team. I think that we've shown the ability to win games on offense. We've shown the ability to win games on defense. We've shown the ability to win games in the kicking game. The players trust one another at a high level. The defensive coaching staff's done a good job of creating a culture over there of accountability. The players that are veterans on that side of the football have done a great job carrying out that message. And when it gets really hard, I think they dig in and rely on one another. And I just came from downtown coaches, and one of the players on defense was down there with me at the downtown coaches. And I think he said it best. It's our issues in the first half of that football game weren't miraculous halftime adjustments. It was we needed to tackle the ball better, and we needed to hit the ball and get to the ball, and get the other guys on the ground and play like we know we're capable of playing. And we've been able to do that in some key moments. And veteran group of guys, like I said, that really trust one another. I think the secondary is in sync with the front. The front's in sync with the second level. The second level's in sync with the secondary. And when that happens, you usually play really good team defense. It allows you to not feel like you have to pressure every play to get the quarterback affected. And you're more it's more advantageous for success.
Vinny Scurry's a guy played at a first-team All-MAC level, I would say, this season. The offensive line as a whole has been a bright spot. He wasn't necessarily one of the guys getting a lot of attention during the offseason, but how big of a boost has that been to the line with his play?
Well, I mean, Vinny by nature is a guy that kind of, you know, leads by example and is not a major vocal guy. Kind of sticks to himself and does a good job of preparing himself, and is a really by nature really a tough guy. So, his work and his commitment to being a good player and developing himself. That growth process has been really fun to watch. I mean, he's coming from a wing T offense in high school where it's a lot of down blocking. There's not much pass setting, and there's not much. Some of the run schemes that we run are not. Those were foreign to him when he got here. So a lot of it had to be, taught and in his mind learned and continued to be practiced. I think he's got a great relationship with his offensive line coach and their development, and watching him grow through that process has been really, really good. And he's kind of been a silent leader up there for us. You know what I mean? They rally around his toughness. They know he's going to play through injury and go out there and give everything he's got. So he naturally has the respect of his teammates, and is a guy that we value here an awful lot.
How the O line, the Joe Moore Award semifinals came out last week. Toledo was not included. I mean, you look at the rushing offense, the offense as a whole, tackles for lost sacks. I mean, all like at the top 10 nationally. You think a little bit of a snub for them to not be included in that?
Yeah, I mean, I can't get caught up in any of that stuff. I mean, I can't get caught up in the outside noise. I just think that they're deserving of any recognition that they get. I mean, they took a lot of punches last year and the year before when we were dealing with injuries and guys not being out in the lineup. And I've said this before. I mean, you can look at the statistics, and I view quarterback sacks as a QB stat. I don't think that's not an offensive line stat unless you're just letting guys run free. So I think you've seen Daquan's growth from last year to this year. The completion percentage is continually to go up. That's been that's aided by good offensive line play. That's good. That's aided by good communication between him and the offensive front, and those guys being on the same page. So yeah, I mean, anything that those guys get individually or collectively as a group is deserving, because I think they've worked really, really hard to eliminate the mistakes and some of the things that they put on tape last year and the year before. So yeah, I mean, I can't control all that other stuff, but what awards and all that kind of stuff, and what it is. I got 12 or 13 players on my team that I think are all conference players. I doubt that there will be 12 or 13 guys that make it, but that's just the reality of it. Is sometimes that stuff gets to be a popularity contest. Only thing we can control is what we can control, and that's what's right in front of us, and that's winning this Friday and winning the rest of our football games.
Does the line play and DQ's ability to either escape or throw the ball away, whatever, allow you to be more aggressive in your play calls?
Well, I think his ability to run the football is that allows you to supplement the run game. And when you can be complex in the run game, then the passing game takes care of itself. So, I think that certainly his abilities to move the pocket and get out on the perimeter and threaten the defense that way provides you some some leeway, and so does the ability to use him in the quarterback run game, which we haven't done a whole lot this year. So he's made a lot of plays, scramble plays, where those guys up front have held in there and done a good job protecting him for just a half second longer, and he's been able to escape out of there. The first touchdown in the game the other night's a quarterback draw where here comes a bunch of subs on the field for the defense, and those guys up front do a really good job of there's only a couple guys in the front that are in a stance. They sort it out, they get it all moved out, and then there he goes for a long touchdown. So yeah, it does provide a lot of flexibility, provides some more options, and it's a good luxury to have.
As far as getting into the top 25, what does that do when it comes to impacting recruiting and just exposure for the University of Toledo?
Well, I mean, I think the benefits there are obvious. I mean, I think that's it's more notoriety, and it sheds light on the work and effort and time that these guys have put in. But I think when you talk to the players, they'll all remind you we haven't won anything yet. I mean, we're still on the path to where we want to go, and got a big game this weekend in front of us, and we've got to handle that and do a good job with that part of it. But a good reward for a lot of hard work and time and energy. It's really hard to win 10 football games in a season. To do it in consecutive weeks is incredibly difficult. There's only a few teams in the country that have 10 wins, and it's really, like I said, it's hard to do that. So yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it sheds light on what they've been able to accomplish and what they've been able to do.
As far as the holiday this week, what does it look like for the players, the team, leading up to Friday's game?
Yeah, we'll do a Thanksgiving meal with our team. on Wednesday. You know, and our Wednesday practice this week is a Thursday walkthrough for us in the football week. So we'll do a little meal. Obviously, the travel guys, we're going to get on the bus and go to Mount Pleasant and see what that's like for Thanksgiving up there. But the non-travel guys, I think, you know, the guys that are local, they'll get a chance to get home and see their families. But, you know, obviously it's Division I football. I mean, everybody's in the same boat this week, and that's how the calendar goes. And, you know, these guys have made tons of sacrifices through their careers. And, you know, it's Thanksgiving weekend, and playing football is just one of the necessary evils that go along with it.
When you play on Friday of this week, like logistically with Thanksgiving and everything, I mean, is it like the most difficult week of the year?
Well, it's different. I mean, these guys don't know it any different because I think we've been Friday. You know, take the COVID year out of it, but I think we've been Friday the last couple of years here, you know, finishing the season. But I've been here when we've had Saturday game. I've been here when we've had Tuesday. A couple teams in our league are going to play tomorrow night. And I think just the whole month of November and late October, that sometimes gets a little it's a little dicey there on how the schedule goes because you want to really do a good job of backing off the physical work at practice, but yet you got to still keep your edge and still keep your team at a championship type level. I thought last week leading into the BG thing that was a really hard week because you're on a short week. You know, you lose a complete day. You're playing at night. You know, it's not. That's different than playing Saturday at noon and then playing Thursday at 8 o'clock in the next week. This is, you know, you get off the field at 11 o'clock at night, and then you got another. You know, you got a short week and you're playing another night game. That's difficult. That's difficult on the planning. It's stressful on the kids and their body and their mental standpoint of things. So, hats off for them for handling that week really, really well. But this one's. I don't think this one was as hard as last week.
You referenced the level of focus this team has shown week in and week out, but you mentioned that the rankings, the win streak you guys are on, just the history this team is doing, obviously, as you guys close out the season. How wary of what you guys are putting together in terms of success are you aware of as you guys close out the season?
Well, I mean, I think you're always aware. It's hard not to be. I mean, you could ask me the same question last week about the Bowling Green thing. I mean, you can try to push it aside, but it's in your face at all times. There's no way around it. So, you know, you got to tell yourself the truth on what it is and understand how this is going to work, and you know, do a great job of making sure that the guys know what's at stake. And we got a veteran team. We got guys that understand what it is, and really understand that they're trying to do something special. They're trying to leave a legacy here, and it hasn't been back to back here in conference champions since 1971, I believe. So. You know, we've accomplished a lot to this point in time in the season. There's a lot to be proud of, but there's so much more out there for us to go get. And you know, as I told him this morning, I mean, you can get caught up in looking in the rearview mirror of what's happened, and that can trip you up and get you caught up really fast, or you can stare out the windshield and pay attention to what's right in front of your face here, and a lot of things for us to accomplish still.
You mentioned last week after the game, the excitement in people's faces, the emotions of making a game-winning block, like you mentioned with Anthony. Just, do you sense this team is having maybe more fun this year? Just how important has that been to the success of just guys having fun and showing that emotion on the
Well, I think that, you know, obviously there's always a worry in my mind of when you have the success that we've had over the last 18 months here is, you know, does that turn into pressure, and does that turn into a thought process that they always have to be, you know, guarded, and they can't have fun, and they can't celebrate wins, and they can't celebrate success. Like nobody wants to coach that team. Everybody wants to coach the team that's full of energy and that attacks practice as, you know, they view it as a chance to get better. They attack each workday like they're trying to do something better than what they've already accomplished. So I think they've done a good job with that. And, you know, we've tried to do the best job we can to keep everything out in front and attack all issues head on, and, you know, and talk to each other about the things that arise, and, you know, just steer clear of the things that could disrupt us, and really focus on what the main task is. And that is just to continue to get better every week. And we understand we got a great opponent we're going to play on Friday, and a team that's talented, got a good player at damn near every position. And a team that's very, very capable, and a team that's playing for a lot. So we got to be at our best to win this week, and you know, continue down this path.
You're talking about the offensive line moments ago, but I know Mike was up for the Burroughs Warriors semifinalists, I believe. Just your thoughts on seeing him be named among those elite coaches.
Yeah, deserving honor. You know, he's done a great job this year with those guys, and you know, their development throughout the offseason I thought was really critical. Their investment into one another is, you know, that's, you know, right, you have 11 individual units, right? You got everybody's, you got the corners, you got the safeties, you got the linebackers, you got the specialists, the QBs. You can name all the position units, and you're really searching for power within that unit. You're really searching for connectiveness in that unit. You're really searching for, when adversity hits throughout the course of a football game, like that group really, really rallying together. I think they've done a good job communicating to one another throughout the course of the game. They've done a good job giving me good feedback on the sideline of what they think can help us be successful offensively. I think they've done a good job telling Mike the truth on what they think is, going to help them in their development and how that practicing in maybe a certain way or a different way, would help those guys. And to this point in time, I mean, we're banged up a little bit, but we've maintained our health here a little, relatively speaking. And Mike's done a really good job, and he's a good coach. He's a good human being, and he's a guy that really loves those kids and invests a lot of time and energy into them.
How much satisfaction is there as a coach when, Mike's gotten a lot of criticism these last couple seasons, to see what's taken place this year and just staying the course and everything kind of working out?
Well, I think it's the same thing we ask our players to do. I mean, don't pay attention to anything that's outside of these walls. Just stay focused on the main thing and make sure that we understand that, if we continue to do the right thing and continue to invest in one another and continue to develop, what we're after is not going to be kept from us. And, I think that no group has probably embraced that more than that group. And Mike's a prideful guy. I mean, he gets it. He understands. He's been a head coach before. He understands that the good comes with the good and the bad comes with the bad. So at times we didn't play our best last year. At times we played really, really well. And, it was up and down a little bit. So, rightfully so. But rightfully so now, too, that he gets a lot of credit for how well they've played, because they've played very consistent all year long.
There's reports that Michigan State has talked to you about their head coaching vacancy. Just wondering if you could confirm or deny that.
Well, I think that obviously when your organization has success, whether that's players, coaches, or whatever, like that's this time of year, right? Like that kind of stuff is going to go on. It happens all over the country. Teams that are winning, everybody's, internet things start, and that's how that goes. So it ain't no different for me though than it is for our players. I mean, don't pay attention to what we've done in the rearview mirror here. Look out the front of the window and continue to press on. None of that is any of my focus right now. This is trying to win a championship for these guys, and again, going to Central Michigan and playing what I think is a very, very capable football team that's playing for a lot here, and a lot of things riding on this team right here in this locker room, and things we've put in place since back in January. So, it is what it is.